Hello, everyone. Welcome to the OC Housing Talk. This is Mike Van Ruth here with Tim Lorenz. How are you doing, sir?
Still doing well, thank you.
Fantastic. Not to get right in the subject, I know how we like to do our small talk and everything, but we had a comment. Someone was mentioning the fact that they want to get in the market, but they're afraid to get in the market because the prices are too high. I'm sorry for paraphrasing the person, but that was generally the idea. They're fearful of getting in because they believe prices are too high. What's your advice to them?
Well, it's funny you're saying that because I just came out of training brand new agents, and one of their fears and something they know is going on. In fact, this now is out there in the bloodstream. What do I mean by that? People are talking, and I heard a horror story, and it was my brother-in-law purchased a house. Sold his house, and he's moving to another state. When he got to the other state, they didn't have enough inventory. And so when he sold his house, he had to rent. And the rents are going up monthly. Nobody will give him a long-term or even, a couple of months lease.
Yeah.
And so each month it goes up and he can't find anything. And he's sorry he sold the house, even though he got really good money. And the other side of that, it actually is the same problem. How do I get a house when they're so high? And where do I give up? My answer is don't give up. Don't give up. How do I put this? There'll be more houses coming on the market now that we're in June than there have before this, just because people believe that's when the market starts and more properties are out there, when they should come on.
Yeah.
When they believe there's more buyers. I don't know how you could have more buyers, but they're looking for more buyers. So first of all, don't give up. But if you have a situation where you're thinking, well, in fact, one of my people said, well, I've been talking to people, and one of my friends said he's going to wait. One said he was going to wait until the market collapses. And I said,
where's this crystal ball? I'd like to check that out.
Yeah, but a lot of people feel that way. It happened in 2008, 2009.
All cycles happen. It's just not knowing when it's going to happen.
Well, that's true, but we have a pretty good indicator because there are four that are causing this market to take up, the least of which is low interest rate. Then you have the millennials, which is maybe the biggest reason, that have come out to buy. They hadn't before. A lot of them were living at home. They have more down payment, and they found out, wow, you can make a lot of money on real estate. Or they want to finally move out of that house, or maybe they're getting married. I don't know what the reasons are, but there are a lot of millennials, and there are more of them than there are baby boomers. Therefore, a huge part of the market just got into it. The pent-up demand from those people who were going to buy before, they haven't been buying. And then you have the driving force of the market itself making you wealthy, so you have more investors. So those four reasons, we have a lot of people in the market. It's not going to go away, and it's not going to be short. The length of time this is likely to go on is years, not weeks or months, that it's going to continue to rise. And some people go, hey, it's already risen for year after year after year after year. How long can it go? Well, right now, I just gave you the reasons it's going to go forward. I don't believe it will stop until it's above 7%. So
you're talking about interest rates.
Interest rate, thank you. Yes, interest rate of 7%. So to stay out of the market because you think it's going to go down, it may do that, but not down from where we are now, but down from wherever the up is.
The high hits.
And that won't be, this is a guess. Nobody has a crystal ball, but I'm going to say 2 years or more out. It's getting longer, not shorter, every time I do this because I can see indicators. Now, that's a pretty bold statement. I don't even like to go out 2 years, but I'm saying 2 years from 2021. So we'll see. Definitely is going to go to the end of this year. Again, I don't think anything will slow the market down until you hit 7. I don't see that for years. There's just too much demand. People want houses. So waiting will probably cause you to buy, if you were buying a small house, you'll buy a small condo. It's not going to work the other way around. If interest rates grow up, and they more than likely will, how soon? Good grief, who knows? But I would say after the first of the year.
Well, I think the Fed right now is very apprehensive to raise rates because they're not looking at this inflationary push as being a permanent one.
Yeah, but they kind of hedged a little and said they may have to tinker with it a bit.
Tinker.
So, but no huge increases, at least through I'd say definitely I feel comfortable through the first quarter of next year. So if you're waiting, interest rates are likely to go up before you get back in, and what you can buy is less. So I wouldn't wait. The other thing I heard was, well, they're going to wait to buy until after the activity, and the activity will go away around September. That would be in a normal market. The market kind of opens little bit in April after tax season and really starts running in June, July, August. This is what people believe. It's not necessarily true, by the way. June, July, August is when people have to move so their kids can get into
school
the new
before
school.
Yeah.
So they feel that's the hot market, and you buy after that. And the statistics aren't going to show you that that's real anyway. But in this market, people can't get their house in January, February, March, April, May, June, July, meaning an individual may find their house, but everybody's been backed up. So there's all this pressure. It's not going away, and it's not going to be better afterwards. You're not going to get a better deal later. You still have the same problem. It's going up very rapidly. In Orange County, I've said this before, and that is they've shown that the median price in all of Orange County, which includes some of the poor neighborhoods, some of the rich neighborhoods, the overall, all housing, condos, mobile homes, and houses, it's up to over 840,000. If you just use houses, no condos, etc., then we're at 1,028,000. So if that's median. So right now you would have a very hard time finding a small home at 500. I don't even know if it exists. Maybe a townhome, which isn't a home, as we were talking about, that's up to 1,028,000. However, it is growing year over year, and I'm sorry, I don't have the number for homes. I have it for the whole market. Year over year, it's over 21% growth. Year over year. I am telling you, housing is higher than that, but I don't have the number. So if in the first quarter plus, so at the end of this month, we'll be at half a year, second quarter. You're going to see it grow because that was up to April. So May and June, by the time we're done with that, I expect another 20% growth. That's my prediction, not based on anything but the numbers I look at. So if that's true, whatever they were looking for, and they thought it was better to buy after September, they're going to pay probably 20% more for the house, which means, again, they buy less than what they could now. Mm-hmm. Waiting is not something you do in a rocketing market. It just isn't. And it's difficult. Let me tell you, I understand the problem. Some people don't want to sell because it's hard to find a house. There's so much competition. But if they sell now and say, by the way, you want to tell your agent, this is where you want a really experienced agent that's working for you, not against you. You want them to have a condition in the contract that says you must find and purchase, enter a contract, And you have to have that happen, and after that happens, 30 days later, you'll close on the buyer. You want the buyer, I mean, in this case, the buyer. The seller, the seller wants to have time to find the property because that's what they're fearful of. The buyer just wants to find a property because he's competed on 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 houses, can't get it.
So once he gets it, he's pretty happy.
Yeah. Even if he has to wait.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of agents want to get paid. They don't want to wait an extra 3 months for somebody to
Yeah, I
find
think you
out.
should actually do a rent back.
Why? There's no reason to. I mean,
Well, there is a reason. The agent wants to get paid.
Yes.
If he has to wait for the escrow to close until they find another house, it's going to take longer for him to get paid.
yes, but the object isn't to get paid, it's to get your client what they want. And they have to pay more in that rental than they were paying on their house. And now they have no house, they've sold theirs. If they don't find it, they can't go, sorry, we had X amount of time to find a house, it doesn't exist. And the buyer says, I don't want to do it. Seller says, I don't want to do it. You're out, you keep your house. But if you sell it, rent back, you have it for a period of time. At the end of that time, they go, see ya.
See ya.
And then where are you? So I don't want to get people into rentals. However, there are a number of you out there saying, hey, why don't I rent back for a year? By then, the market will collapse, and I will sold it to high and get back in the low, and you still have 3 possible problems. Number one, interest rates will go up so you can afford less than you can now. Number 2, all indicators are that the prices are going to go up. We just went over this. And number 3, both may happen. The interest rates went up, and so did the price. It's not a good idea to bet on that. It's best to move now. Well, why
Get back into the market immediately.
Yes, and why do you want to do that? Because you get the growth out of this rocket market and you'll have more equity. So if you had, and you've sold a house, and you're trying to get into another, which is one of the problems people are fearful of, you have more money to put down. And you're more than likely in this market going to have to bid more than what it'll appraise for, or what the market, what it'll appraise for. You're going to have to bid above what it was listed at in order to fight to get the property. If you sold your property, you may want to go with lesser down, maybe 10% instead of 20, so you have 10% now that you can actually pay cash for. It's the same amount that you're paying, but you're paying over the value that they said they wanted to compete with the others who are out there. You buy it, in a few months, you find that you still made profit.
Exactly.
That is the answer to, what do I do? The market is going up. I'm not really making fun of that. Seriously, I understand the problem. I had somebody say, well, why don't we all just sell it? And I told you, go, and then I get paid, they get paid. And if they stay in an apartment, they stay in an apartment, but in 12 months, they come back in. Please think through that. If the market doesn't show any signs that it's going to be weak,
The train passed you by.
Yeah, train passed you by, and you sold something that if you waited on, you would have been better.
Yeah, you might as well just stayed in the property and stayed in the property through that period, and then went to go to the market then,
Yeah, that's
rather than getting out. You lost all that equity that you would have gained.
So it's a tricky time, but as I was telling my team, this is a time to buy property because you're going to see a real fast escalation in value. So if you can buy it, even if you're not moving into it as an investment, no matter what it is, right now it will make money. So buy it, get in, least amount you have to. Don't be afraid of the market. Just get in there, get it, and make money. Hold on to it if you want, rent it out, whatever you have to do. You'll be happy if you're doing it now.
Exactly.
So that answers the question.
That
I
does
think.
answer the question.
Okay, so where does that lead us? Well, golly. Why do you need, here's the problem out there for why do you need a real agent that knows what they're doing? Most people think, and they're advertising on it on TV, hey, you can pay less.
Yeah, I just heard it on the radio today, driving in.
You can pay less, the whole thing for a little bit of money, and you get a qualified, really good agent who's going to sell your home. Okay, two problems. Number one, let me ask you a question. If you had the top surgeon in the United States and he could work anywhere he wants, and he charges $20,000 for heart surgery, but his success rate is really high. Do you think he would go where he could collect 20,000 or where he could get 5 for the same operation?
I would say the 20,000.
Right. So how many really great agents are going to work in this case for a third of the commission to sell your house? Why would they work for that company when they could work for any other company and make more money?
That's an interesting question, Tim. I don't know.
Well, they won't.
No.
You can't get the best agents to take a cut in pay that violent and still do the job. They're not going to do it. You can't have the best agents.
Unless
working
they're
for
cutting
nothing.
a whole lot of corners to do so.
Now, even then, I don't
Even
know
then?
any. You can't make it up in volume. That's the joke in real estate. There's always companies that start up and they go, well, we're going to cut commission because we're going to have so many more people to come to us and we're just going to do it. It never happens. They don't make it up in volume. So those of us who've been in the business and are worth our salt aren't going to play that game not because we want to harm you as possible people who are listing their home. Not at all. We command a price because we get more for the home. See, they'll say, they sold my house and they did it in very quickly. Well, everybody can sell a house right now to get it very quickly.
Yeah.
Every house practically sells. Well, not only that, they had multiple offers. Yes, that's pretty easy to do also. But if they didn't know how to price in the first place, one of two things will happen. Three. They listed too low. They get multiple offers. They don't want to read a bunch of offers. They tell you this is the best. Look at how high it is from what we listed at. Just take it. They may have listed it right. You get a little more than that, and they say take it, or they counter and they do the best they can. Or they listed it too high and it doesn't sell in a market like this, which also exists.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the three. Where a veteran agent who knows what they're doing, who knows how to drive price, will get you anywhere from 10 to 100,000 more than that agent who isn't good. Now, $100,000, $50,000, and I don't have a starting. I'm not talking 12 million. It'd be more than that. If we're not talking about 2 million, it'd be more than that. But in a home that's around 700-800, they might get you as much as 100 more. My goodness, their commission is free when compared to these others, no matter what they were charging. If they charge $300,
Well, I spoke to you about this already. Last 3 offers I put in, the selling agent did nothing to stimulate my client to put in more money. There was no discussion of hey, you know what? Did nothing to negotiate and get to push that.
They just took the highest one.
They just took the highest one and ran with it. Paycheck, where I'm like, which seems foreign to me because no matter what listing we take, there's always a push to drive it even higher. No matter what you got on the table, take those top 5. I don't want to discuss all the ins
You
and
can
outs
say
of it,
that.
the negotiation process.
We take the top 5. We don't go to the 20. We tell the other 15, if you want to write a new offer, fine, but we're only countering the top 5. That is what we do. But these guys don't even do that. I had one this weekend. By the way, we wrote 6 offers on the team this weekend, just so you know. One of them is definitely through. The other 5 are on the table yet. But in that, we had one that came back and wrote a counteroffer and didn't put bring us your highest and best, didn't say
None.
bring us this much money. They said nothing about money at all.
No.
And that is not good for the seller. It leaves it too open. You're not going to get the best result that way. And that's why you don't want to use somebody who isn't really well qualified. It's as difficult to get the best value out of your home in a time when things are selling really, really, really well. You feel that you got a good price because it was more than what they listed it for, and what you could see. But there is so much pressure, there is so much demand that the top end you can't see easily. You also have to have the knowledge of how to protect that. You have to have the knowledge of how to push that. And I'm just seeing agents doing the squirreliest things. And we want you to remove all conditions in 5 days. Really? How do you do that? And if you do, does the seller have to remove? They have 7 days to give them all the stuff they need. They can't, they have a hard time getting in 7 days
Yeah.
all the information they're supposed to deliver to the other
And
side.
3 days later, you're supposed to remove all your contingencies?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it gets crazy because people are beginning to feel like they're king of the mountain because they sold a house in a month. We do it all the time, but they've first time in their life they've ever done it. And they have multiple offers, so now they're brilliant, but they're not doing the job.
Everyone's a genius in a bull market.
Yeah, I am so smart. Look at how much money. But to wring out the maximum amount for the seller, you have to know how to do it. It also helps the buyers so they know when they can't compete and they can go on to the next house. We do that for them too. But you have to know how to do that. I mean, do it legitimately. We're not trying to kick people out. Not
No,
at
you
all.
don't, but
We
you
want
want
them
to
all
string people
participate.
up, string people out.
Oh my goodness, they just make it so difficult that some buyers, let's go over to your side, buyers, they make it difficult for the buyers, and the buyers want to give up on the market because they don't know how to go through it. And the object is to have somebody who also knows how to get it through so you can get the property. It is going to take multiple offers
Mhm.
because it's that kind of market, but it can be done and should be done. So I'm just saying, it's a difficult market because there's so much demand and there's so many people out there wanting houses, but it's worth the effort and the sweat and the blood. That's figuratively. Nobody's bleeding, but it's worth it because when you get a house, you make a lot of money. I was fortunate, and I tell this story because I've heard so many agents, lenders, escrow people, title people, they're obviously younger than I am, who have said, oh my gosh, it's never been this fast. So I'll use an example for you. In 1969, I bought my first house here in California, paid $24,000. Woohoo! Wish I could do that now.
Yeah. That'd
Anyway,
be nice.
3 years later, I sold the house for $74,000. That is 3 times or 300% in 3 years, or 100% every year for 3 years. We're not even talking about that kind of growth.
No.
This is not the fastest it's ever been. There have been markets like this before. I've participated in them. Just saying. There is so much people always, without looking at data, want to give you information that's based upon their limited time in the business. How long have you been an agent? 5 years. There's never been a time like this. Did you research that? No. I mean, since I've been in, there's never been a time like that. That isn't even a full cycle. So I'm just saying, please, if you are listing with somebody, make sure that that listing, you're not moving out of the house or making it finalized until you find the house. Put your house up first. Why? Why don't I just go find it and then sell my property, because some of these people aren't going to wait for you to sell. Yeah, but it only
No.
takes me right away.
They
don't
want
wanna
you to
wait.
be under contract,
Yeah,
or they
so
won't even look at it.
if you can be under contract, but you're not going to close until these two close at the same time, you can write that into a contract. It's called a contingency. It can be done. Don't get out there and end up either renting back or buying the house and having them kick you out because you were renting, or you thought you were going to find it, and so you made a long escrow of 90 days. That can happen. So you had a 90-day escrow. At the end of 90 days, you have to have the other person move in. You still don't have any place, and you're out in the cold. That's the worry of some people. Doesn't have to happen. You can be protected. So look for an agent like the ones at Elite Home Sales Team.
I know those guys.
I do too. I know two of them right here. So we know how to do that. We're not the only ones. I'm not saying we're the only ones, but we definitely know what we're doing. Others will also. Just make sure they're not so hungry that they're trying to close the deal on you so they get paid. not
Getting
looking out.
paid rather than looking out for the best interest of the client.
Absolutely. So we don't want that to happen. We will always have your best interest at heart. That's the way we work. We're the Elite Home Sales Team. By the way, if there's anybody out there who wants to move into Laguna Niguel, we have a pocket listing. They're not under contract, but I've been told, and I'm supposed to talk to them in the next couple of days. There's a home in Laguna
Miguel.
Niguel for $4 million. Do I have any more? I'll give you more next time we're on, because I haven't seen the house yet. And a house next door to it has already sold for $4 million. So if you're thinking of something like that and you were looking for something that's not on the market, contact us. There's a phone number coming on the screen in a few minutes.
A few minutes. Well, I could put it up
Okay.
right now.
All right.
949-874-2247.
And that connects to me.
That's right. He answers it.
That's what I do. All right. We have that.
Well, heck, we should do a podcast just on that property.
As soon as we get it, we will.
Yeah, we'll do some cool stuff.
I'm not sure all of their issues at this point until I sit down with them. But it does seem reasonable that that would be around the value of that home. But we'll put it on slightly less.
We always do.
Exactly.
It's part of the strategy. Here we go.
Well, that's all I was going to do. But if you are looking for something like that, please get a hold of us. We do have it in our pocket, and we'll take it out, sell it, or have you look at it. And if you like it, you could certainly buy it. All right.
Very good. Another good podcast, Tim.
Thank you.
So
We're
next-
both, by the way, we're both sitting here with bad backs.
we're
I just
the
thought I would
walking wounded today. Our backs are all jacked up.
It happens. Anyway, hopefully you couldn't see that, but I think we're done sitting.
Yeah, about the time to stand up now. But thank you for watching this podcast. Definitely like this video, and please subscribe and follow us on social media.
And what's the name of our podcast? Because we never mentioned it.
I did in the very beginning. OC Housing Talk.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. He'll look later and see if it was. But yes, OC Housing Talk, the Elite Home Sales Team, Michael Van Ruth, Tim Lorenz.
And we'll see
Hope
you again.
you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Give us a call. Ask us any questions. As you can see, we answer them on the podcast.
Yes, we do. All right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you.